Alright, you white motherfuckers, all eyes on me. This is the I Refuse podcast. Don't let me wait. Come into my house. Give me body. Don't let me wait. Come into my house. Give me body. Don't let me wait. Come into my house. Give me body. Don't let me wait. Come into my house. Give me body. Don't let me wait. Come into my house. Give me body. Don't let me wait. Come into my house. Give me body. Don't let me wait. Come into my house. Give me body. Don't let me wait. Come into my house. Give me body. Don't let me wait. Come into my house. Look, that's an old Queen Latifah. A lot of y'all only know her as the Equalizer, and to a smaller number of folks, a lot of y'all know her from Living Single, but y'all wasn't outside when she had those first two albums. And she was rapping and clearing the fellas back in the day. Welcome to the I Refuse Podcast morning show. What's today? May 22nd. I'm locked and loaded watching or following this Diddy trial because we've been talking about this, surviving Diddy. I think I was the first one to start that up before the documentary, before, 50 Cent said his stuff, before the documentary came to Hulu, even before I believe Trap Lore God or Trap Lore Boss was talking about it, and the Diddy files and all that other stuff. Day 8 of Diddy's racketeering and human trafficking case was underway yesterday. We did the episode yesterday, the afternoon show, talking about day 7, day 6, and day 5, and I believe day 4. Yesterday was day 8. Yesterday was Wednesday. They called to the stand another former assistant to Diddy, right? I'm going to get into that later on. Yesterday, they had day 8 of the Diddy trial. And the big day, yesterday, the big thing was, here's another former assistant who's been subpoenaed to take the stand. Government called George Kaplan, who was a former assistant to Diddy. So the moment this guy took the stand, it's a continuance of the threatening behavior, the threatening energy that Diddy brings to his employee into certain spaces, but also it continues the narrative that may very well continue to play into the racketeering charges. Keep in mind, again, this is racketeering and human trafficking trial. And racketeering, they are going to explore, entertain, and pull in anybody that is part of this alleged network. And you got to keep in mind that it is a crime to use money to implore or influence employees that have a certain role of responsibility into this network that would involve drugs, intimidation, coercion, um, the commission of environments that do harm to other folks. We were fresh off the YSL. A lot of y'all just didn't understand what a RICO was, what racketeering is. It's a financial network. And in the day 7 video we did yesterday, we talked about his another former assistant that took the stand was employed by Diddy for about roughly 2 or 3 years. During his testimony, unregistered guns, the Suge Knight situation, um, the the uh, the hooking up employees to the lie detector test. Like, sir, this is not New Jack City. Like, those of us that have been outside for a while have seen this man try to get into some kind of character off of some movie, play up into this whole villain thing for the camera. And it's like, you got that going on top of, the slippery, shady business dealings where you maintain the upper hand while your employees get like shekels and stuff like that. And he's been able to play both. Like, do that on the side, be a little generous with the women's financially, kind of buy people out, keep a double image. And we've talked about that before. But yesterday, Kaplan went into this whole regularly threatened to fire him, claiming he only wanted the best employees around, sometimes in a motivational tone, which we've all heard. If you've been listening to certain rap albums, you've seen them on certain shows. Making the band brings the first thing to my mind. Can be a very demanding person. Those water signs, let me tell you. Unpacking a lot of what was already brought up yesterday by the other assistant, former assistant, before the freak offs popped off. Mention of drugs, definitely mention of baby oil, toiletries, of course. Cleaning hotel rooms so that photos, because it's not uncommon for housekeeping staff or hotel staff personnel, especially when they've heard the celebrities been staying there, or they had a house and they had to go through there, taking photos. Like, it wasn't that long ago, somebody took, remember that photo of, they said it was allegedly Whitney and Bobby's bathroom after one of their multi-day situations. Somebody took a photo of the bathroom, that circulated, made it to an album cover, so on and so forth. Like, that part of the testimony yesterday could be argued away, because the main counter argument, for a lot of the personal details being discussed is, you could say that, for example, if a person, whether it was Cassie or a former assistant, testifies that he wanted this to be cleaned up, he he had bodyguards, that he gave money to take things or make sure something didn't get out, could be argued for image purposes. But Kaplan yesterday said the rooms often were littered with liquor bottles and baby oil, and on occasion he found white powder near a sink. Packing Combs' medicine bag, a lengthy challenge as various pills, Advil, Tylenol, and ketamine always need to be included. Kaplan once recalled accepting a delivery MDMA in Miami. Now we're getting to, I feel like we're on the heels of this alleged drug mule. We talked about that on the podcast too. Alleged white boy. Well, he's not a alleged white boy. He is a white boy. Said he alleged. I'll say he was alleged drug mule of Combs. This is getting juicy. But going over this, I had to think like we're really tapping into this whole networking thing. You got to understand that, like, when you hire people to work for you, there is a set of responsibilities that they were hired for. Where in the history of labor and legislation that you've heard that an assistant is handling and receiving illegal contraband and setting up and cleaning up your hotel room for these alleged freak-offs? Where in the history of labor and legislation, the LLR, have you heard of a dancer being hired and commissioned to lay with your lady and you watching the corner? Like, y'all don't get how that's a problem? Like, the shit for, oh, it's, he's really on trial for, his freaky lifestyle. That ship left literally almost a week ago. Shit, pretty much day one, if we being honest. Because there's a whole other dark thing that y'all are not discussing. You are not entitled to fool our lie and operate the way that you do, because some of that shit's illegal. And, I know people out here have their opinions and everything, but goddamn, God forbid you have another relationship with that line of thinking. Like, there is a distinction and there's a lot of nuance here that y'all are not discussing. You looping in employees to take part in your dirty work. You are intentionally paying cash for a lot of this stuff and saying things around your employees, which leads a lot of people to believe that you're using record label money that's for your record label, your artists, recording, marketing, promotion, to pay for rooms, travel, and your employees to do or take part in your personal matters. including freak offs. That's giving racketeering. That's giving Rico. So day 8, like I said, was yesterday. Today is the day that they will call Kid Cudi. He's expected to come today. So far, a total of 5 witnesses will be called today. Um, they will continue the questioning of Mr. Kaplan, who is a different former personal assistant. I think this is the second or third former assistant that they've called to the stand. It is really fleshing out to be a doozy. Like, and I really want a lot of people to educate themselves and become informed. You know, this guy faces 5 criminal counts: count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Of course, he's denied the allegations. When Kid Cudi comes to the stand, he'll be expected to testify about his relationship with Cassie. Of course, he'll be cross-examined like everybody else. At this point, you know, we've explored the psychological aspect. You know, a lot of y'all in the comments have somehow managed to come across like you're befuddled as to why why this woman, Cassie Ventura, would stay. And y'all have held on to this belief when it comes to women and to a lesser degree men that are being abused. Because please believe, we are light years beyond this archaic belief that only women can be abused, that, you know, men should just take it. No, no person should be abused, right? But when it comes to women particularly, and I'm looking at you, Ashley, like motherfuckers, I'm talking to y'all. Y'all just can't seem to wrap your brains around a woman if she's saying that she's not being abused, and if she's saying in these text messages that she's okay, that she's looking forward to another freak off, then how is she a victim? Listen, I said pretty early on that while it is possible for her to go along with a majority of the freak offs, I guarantee you that there were just as many times where she was not okay. And you got to keep in mind, she is under the influence of drugs, um, as is the case with probably a lot of the party goers. Um, when you have a person that is physically violent and physically abusive with you from the gate, you are conditioned to not piss them off. And in a roundabout way, you are forced into compliance. And you got to keep in mind, she was 17, 18, 19 years of age, and he was twice her age. And she was with somebody else at that time. And you got to keep in mind, like, it's the same script, different cast. Shout out to Whitney and Deborah Cox. He did the same thing with Kim Porter and Albie Shore. And Albie Shore has mentioned this in that Hulu documentary about Diddy, the same documentary that Sarah Stokes is in. Y'all should check that out, by the way. Similar thing back in the early 90s when Albie Shore was in the studio, probably working on a few Jodeci records. He said he was in there with Kim Porter, and Diddy either walked in or poked his head in, and as time went on, he was paying particular, close attention to Kim Porter. Um, of course, he knew then that she was with Albie Shore. And when it comes to people like, Diddy, the dots don't really connect until later on. And as you have seen, like he has an MO. There's like a sense of entitlement with people when they know you're with somebody and you can see the gears turn that they're trying to get with that person. Next thing you know, there are problems in relationship. There's this and that, and then he has you, he's essentially doing the same thing to you. What they were on and off for how long? While he was with Misa, then J Lo in the cameras. That's the other thing. That's the other thing they explored last week is he has an MO and same script, different cast. Like you have regular girls that you're seeing, one of which wants to take the relationship public, while you are publicly with Kim or publicly with Cassie, and then you have overlap between those two. And when Cassie was on the stand, we got to get some insight to that. But it's there's a lot of layers here, and there's a lot about this guy that is very, very wild. And when you add the power aspect and you add the career aspect and how he throws his weight around with his staff and his employees, that all plays into the psychological aspect that makes Cassie look like the victim, that makes Don McCartan look like the victim, that makes Aubrey O'Day look like the victim. Like there are some dudes and there are some women out here that just blur the lines. And then you add drugs to it. Like there's no telling what all that he said behind closed doors while he was with Cassie. But trust you me, as time goes on, the rest of this week and the coming weeks, you're going to get more insight as to the Diddy experience. Personally, professionally, like it's not that hard to fathom. Abused women coming back, especially after you out here blowing people's cars up. They called a psychologist earlier this week to the stand, expert opinion on abusive relationships, saying victims of domestic violence can feel trapped by physical, psychological, and financial control. One thing about the comment section, is y'all were telling yourselves every single time. Like you can tell the kind of person y'all are when y'all act so like in the dark about it. Or y'all even like start to victim blame or continue to victim blame or go up for this man. After all the stuff that's been exposed, and y'all will hold true to that. Very, very clear that y'all do not like women. Y'all got mothers, aunts, grandmothers, sisters, daughters, cousins. Hard head makes for a soft behind, I guess. So day 8 was yesterday. And I don't know. I don't get how y'all can still hang on to this being pro Diddy or pro any man that does this kind of stuff. But here we are, Mr. Fox Syracuse podcast. Thank you for coming to the morning show. Hit that follow and subscribe button and continue to listen to the Syracuse podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Usual Suspects podcast and, the IRP After Dark podcast, if you feel so inclined. Um, we will be around and we will stay clocked in to this because, it's only right. They're not letting us in the courtroom. Can't watch this sucker live, but we getting our intel to the minute. I'm definitely looking forward to Kid Cudi's testimony. Um, how deep was it? How long did it go on for? And was it on and off? I mean, I would surmise it was off after, the truck got blown up. But it will definitely, I know it's definitely key to this intimidation coercion aspect. Um, and all this weirdness coming from this dude. But I really want, the trash men out here to like unpack the bullshit and decondition yourselves from the spirit likeness you guys have with this man, this attachment you have to this kind of bullshit. And I will catch you guys later. Peace.